Hello, everyone, and happy holidays. Welcome to the CMA webinar series. I'm Mike Welkening, Communications Manager here at ARC, and I'll be your host for today's webinar. 4 Ways PepsiCo is preparing category stories for 2026, hosted by our friends at Harmonya and PepsiCo. Now, PepsiCo's shopper behavior team needed faster shopper-led insights to validate category trends for their retail partner. Today, we're going to get some real-life grounding and examples in 4 practical ways that they were able to do that, using enriched product data to confirm consumer sentiment, connect it to sales dollars, and turn insights into stories that resonated with retail buyers. Now, this is an interactive session today. We'll certainly have time for your questions at the end, so please enter those either in the chat function below or using the Q&A button. It's my pleasure now to introduce our speakers today. Nicole Dygdon is the Senior Manager of Shopper Behavior at PepsiCo, where she leads research dedicated to understanding and influencing the shopper at Walmart across PepsiCo's beverage categories. With 10 plus years of experience across sales and insight, Nicole has a proven track record of using advanced analytics to uncover deeper shopper motivations and to translate them into compelling, actionable business strategies driving long-term success. We're also pleased to welcome Brian Grover, the Product Insights and Solution Lead at Harmonya. He builds and scales insight-driven solutions, helping brands and retailers to turn complex data into confident decisions. He began his career at PepsiCo, supporting Walmart with more than 4 years across category, shopper, consumer insights, followed by 4 years scaling software as a service products, working across product, solutioning, and data analytics. He has a proven track record of translating analytical complexity into commercially actionable strategies that change how teams operate, align, and grow. With that, I'll hand it over to our presenters today to get started. Brian, Nicole, welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mike. Before we get into the PepsiCo work and the great work that Nicole and team did, I want to quickly frame what we do and why we exist as Harmonya today. So this first starts with the core problem of traditional segmentation hiding growth opportunities. Most category work today still starts the same way. You look at the category, the subcategory, the segment, and the brand. That structure is how the business operates, and it's by no means wrong, but it's not how shoppers actually decide and make decisions at the shelf. Shoppers aren't buying a segment, they're choosing usually a combination of attributes. And as this populates on the right-hand side, things like zero sugar, things like refreshing. I'm looking for a smooth finish, a functional benefit, on-the-go occasion. They're looking to fulfill specific need states. Historically, when we analyze performance only through that brand or segment lens, those demand signals get buried. And that's where growth opportunities get missed. And the point here, we aren't trying to replace segmentation. We're trying to look what's underneath it, at the attributes and behaviors that are actually driving demand today. And here's how those demand signals get surfaced and how we go about bringing this to life. So a 3-step process. First, we gather publicly available product content from over 300 different retailer sites across the internet. And we are bringing about product listings, the PDPs, the ingredient pages, verified reviews, all done at the UPC level, with that UPC level being the imperative piece for how we connect this together. Secondly, we extract this. This is where, our AI brilliance, the LLMs come together to extract this data, normalize attribution, and build these models specifically built for your teams and your business. And what that means is we have over 20,000 tags and/or attributes across things like flavors and claims and benefits and more. And where this comes together and where we really tie insights to actionability is combine that attribution layer with POS point of sale data from our clients, and whether it's the Circanas, the Centillas, the Nielsen. We bring that data in aggregate and allow teams to not just understand which attributes exist, but which ones are driving demand, declining, friction, all at any level you want. And by any level, what's interesting is whatever market levels you guys want to connect. Maybe it's totally US ex AOC, maybe it's totally US MULO. Is it distribution center, by markets, by regions, all the way down to store level by time periods you look to? We can help you in real time identify and understand, what are the growth drivers and what are people looking for when they step in foot on your shelf and/or in the e-commerce space on your websites today. And lastly, before I shift to Nicole, 4 ways PepsiCo has been doing this with that foundation in place are 4 very practical ways. These aren't features, they're workflows that are in your day-to-day that your category teams are already recognizing and delineating on. So I'm going to hand it to Nicole, who's going to walk you through how PepsiCo's used this across their org this year and let her shine. So thank you. And Nicole, I'll shift it to you.
Thanks, Brian. So when we looked at some of our beverage categories, we know that flavor, format, and sugar expectations are changing fast within both total hydration and the category of ready-to-drink tea. We really wanted to understand customer sentiment around flavors, when and what callouts were perceived as more better for you, and how important callouts like vitamin C were within ready-to-drink tea. So we were able to partner with Harmonya to help us validate things that we were seeing in not only our sales data, but also from internal customer surveys that we had already conducted. And today I'm going to go a little deeper into the 4 ways we did that. So the first way was to test our own hypotheses with shopper language. And our first hypothesis was that within drink mixes, and it was that taste and flavor are prioritized as purchase drivers above all else. So Harmonia was able to dig into the approximately 30,000 reviews that are out there for drink mixes and help quickly organize them into buckets by percent of reviews that mention things like taste and flavor, sweetness levels, mixing, price and value, and then energy and boost. The results here showed that shopper sentiment supports our hypothesis that the most mentioned thing for drink mixes is taste and flavor, which are talked about in about 60% of reviews over everything else, that is prioritized. Our second hypothesis was within ready-to-drink tea around shoppers associating callouts like diet and zero sugar as better for you options. We also wanted to see if we could get to sentiment around, is one a stronger purchase driver than the other, and or does one have more positive sentiment associated with that better for you tag? Once again, Harmonia was quickly able to come back to us with 4 specific key themes that came through in all of those reviews, as well as giving us some verbatim callouts highlighting the shopper voice that supported those themes within the reviews. So the first one here was around tasting like the real thing. Shopper sentiment is that diet and zero sugar teas deliver full flavor with no trade-off, with one shopper saying, "You think it's regular sweet tea, but it's completely sugar-free." The second theme was no diet aftertaste, where consumers called out the absence of artificial or diet flavors, with one shopper saying, "Didn't taste like diet at all. It completely surprised me." And another saying, "One of the few diet teas without that usual aftertaste." The third theme was fits health and lifestyle needs, with consumers mentioning keto, diabetes, calorie watching, and guilt-free drinking, with one shopper saying, "This tea is fantastic if you're managing sugar for health reasons," and another shopper saying, "A great pick for anyone reducing sugar, diabetic friendly." And then the last theme that came through was a better everyday option, as shoppers talk about it being a go-to beverage, a repeat purchase, and dependable daily choice, with one saying, quote, "I keep going back for more. It's become my everyday drink." So with Harmonia's support here, we were able to not only move fast, but validate our hypotheses around sugar within the ready-to-drink tea category. Overall, the shopper voice was clear and came through saying taste drives everything. Better for you teas solve real lifestyle needs. Diet and zero sugar are no longer flavor compromises, and zero sugar creates emotional reassurance with shoppers. So the second way that we use Harmonia is we're getting to those actionable insights by linking sentiment and attributes to actual sales dollars. So it's great that we have all this review data and all this sentiment information, but Harmonia also ties each attribute and theme to a UPC, allowing us to know where to focus based on their sales performance. So, and with this chart, we know there are so many data sources out there around flavor and flavor trends, and we wanted to really see where certain flavors lived from a trend curve perspective when we ranked and plotted them by using not only sales performance and sales change data, but also by number of UPCs and that customer sentiment. This would not have been an easy task, but Harmonia was able to quickly create us this chart to showcase where drink mix flavors lived on that trend curve from the buckets of emerging, drivers, steady, and drains. We were able to use this awesome chart both internally and externally to drive our growth strategies, and we received positive feedback on both sides. We still reference this chart, and this is one example where we're going to continue to work with Harmonia to keep this chart updated so we can monitor how flavor trends continue to evolve over time. And like I mentioned earlier, we wanted to also explore the vitamin C claim within the ready-to-drink tea category. And without Harmonia, again, this process would have taken significantly longer. Harmonia is the only tool that provides tag level data by UPC and then connects it to sales data for attributes such as vitamin C. So using Harmonia, we quickly narrowed down the analysis to brands and items that highlighted vitamin C, enabling those meaningful conversations around actionable insights, which we again had both internally and externally.
Right. And one thing to add before I shift back to Nicole is just to kind of dive a little more into this is what you have the ability within our platform and our agent is to in real time query something like vitamin C and say, okay, across my set and competitive landscape, what are the products with vitamin C and how's that driving? How does that compare? Where we can really get more granular and really fascinating insights is, let's say there's a few specific products or brands that are really killing it. We have the ability to understand what attributes are associated with vitamin C that are driving that growth as well. Are there specific ingredients? Are there specific consumer benefits, claims, or occasions that they're using this for? We can bring and culminate this all together to really help you get granular to understand, is it just vitamin C? Is it more than that? And helping you quantify that in real time to make decisions and win on the shelf and win across your organization. So I'll shift it back here to Nicole real quick to talk through the third use case.
Thank you, Ryan. So the third way is when there are situations when you just need a super quick analysis versus a deep dive analysis to be able to move quickly, but still have the data to support your actions. From a moving quickly perspective, I'm sure most of us on this call get these questions all the time. What's trending? What's performing? What's underperforming? And why? Well, Harmonia helps us get to those answers quickly, and I'm actually going to turn it back again to Brian so he can talk about how that exactly works.
So what this enables is a different way of working. Instead of pulling from 6 or 7 tools or products to answer one question, teams are able to utilize the power of Harmonia today to use a single source of intelligence to move faster. And what that means is, from question to signal to exploration to action, we have the end goal of helping you unlock speed to insight. And not just speed to insight of, hey, I got you an insight in 5 minutes, but confidence behind that and rigor and power utilizing our data and our mechanics to help you win in internal and external conversations. And the next question is the obvious one, right? How do you do this? How do you actually combine sales data, shopper feedback, and early shopper intent without adding complexity? This is where one of our newest capabilities, the Insights Agent, comes into play. And what it does is it allows teams and allows you to ask questions, 1 question, 10 questions, 30 questions, and immediately see the relevant signals parsed together and let you land that actionable insight. So what this means and how we help you get that full 360 consumer lens is the agent works because of how the signals are connected together. The first one is Reddit. Reddit shows you what consumers are about to do, what they will do. It lets you signify early intent, switching behavior, and maybe they were buying this brand and now they're going to this. What needs are being met, and what's interesting is about having the power of reviews, which I'll talk to in a second, and Reddit is people go to Reddit very, very quickly. I mean, Reddit is a social media platform, and there's people that are like stars of the show, and they etch out a thing in certain categories and certain things, and they're coming, and people listen to them. So having the power and the connectivity of them is step one of knowing what consumers will do, and tying that to POS sales data to know what consumers did. And as we talked about, it's not just about understanding how the brand's performing. It's the ability to uncover things like vitamin C, or things like, replenishment or low sugar protein, understanding POS data in those niche ways that up till today at the UPC level have not been possible. And then lastly, as it all kind of comes together and where Harmonya shines is ratings and reviews, enabling you to understand what they felt post-purchase. What's their satisfaction? What's their frustration? What are the trade-offs? Individually, each signal has limitations. Together, they give category teams, insights teams, innovation teams, brand teams, a full 360 view of what demand is to stay ahead of not just what's happening today, but what's happening tomorrow. And in some instances, what's going to happen in 2 years. So what we have here, I want to pause here and show what this looks like inside the platform. Of course, everything here is masked. Brands are hidden, out of respect, of course, for PepsiCo and the great work they're doing. But the question we prompted here is within the RTD category, what shopper-led insights can we uncover about diet and zero sugar teas based on all available sales and review data from the most recent complete 12 months? Which brands are winning? Which brands are losing? What themes as it relates to sugar are driving this positive and negative sentiment? And how do these perceptions correlate with sales performance? That's a very powerful question. And if I go back to my days, I'm sitting at PepsiCo and the category teams and the insights team, I would be going a lot of different directions. I would be using a lot of different sources. The goal here is to synergize these sources. And as you can see in real time, you're getting key shopper insights, things about aftertaste, specific ingredients. You're understanding what brands are actually driving growth and what are the specific sentiment and themes that are associated with those brands for the rationale for why. All of this comes together to help you see in real time what shoppers are talking about and how often they appear. The goal here is to enable someone like yourself to explore performance and shopper feedback at the same time without jumping between tools. And this is how we as Harmonya are enabling people like PepsiCo to go from a question to real context very quickly before deciding what to do next in internal and external conversations day in and day out. Now I will shift it one more time back to you, Nicole.
Thank you. And I'll just give one more plug for that, Adrian. I am definitely in there asking questions pretty much every day now. So it's really, really, really awesome. Okay, so the last way we use Harmonya is by turning shopper signals into those actionable insights. So the end goal here is basically what I said, to turn shopper signals into internal and external actionable insights. With the power of Harmonya and our partnership with them, it enables us to have that different conversation with both our internal and external partners, where we're able to better understand and represent shopper voices, putting finer points on our own hypotheses to create those actionable insights to drive growth. The end result is that we show up as the expert, we earn a seat at the table, and we become a trusted partner because our actionable insights are grounded in shopper behavior and performance. So I know we've only highlighted a few of the ways we've been able to use Harmonya, but there have been so many, many more, and I'm excited to continue to have them as a valid partner in the future.
Great. So thank you, Nicole, for that. Immense shout out to Nicole. Even though we are the thought partners, it requires someone like Nicole to come to us with the right questions and engage with us and unlock the powers of our capabilities together. So thank you to Nicole and thank you to PepsiCo for putting this on. A few quick shout outs before I shift it back to Mike and Q&A. NRF coming up in New York City. We will be there, booth 8219. Come say hello. Let's talk. Let's see how we can help you and your business drive value today and moving forward. And of course, CMA, got to give shout out to Mike and the team. In Vegas, best place to be, booth 300. We'll be there having a great time together. So make sure to stop by at both. And then last but not least, in that bottom left, if you have your phone, QR code, this will link to our agent page today, where you can get in real time, see what we're all about, schedule time with us, have a chat. We, of course, would love to talk more and help you drive growth this year and next and many years to come. So I'll pause there, shift back to Mike, and kick off the Q&A, but thank you all.
Ryan, Nicole, this was great. Of course, yes. Do see us at conference. The light reflecting off of my head will kind of direct everybody to where the hors d'oeuvres are. That's typically kind of where I sort of camp out by. So certainly do see me there, and free sunglasses for everybody with the CMA brand to protect from the glare from this. We've had a number of questions that have come in here. So this is really, I think, struck a nerve with folks. And Let's go first to the chat. We've got one from Ben James. Hey, Ben, a longtime friend of the CMA, and he had asked, how are the ratings and reviews language viewed or used in combination with more standard equity tracking?
Great question. Yeah, so I think where we have been able to power this is, in culmination. I think one thing is reviews alone. Like people write 5-star reviews, right? And they're not always positive, vice versa. So I think where the real path to Harmonya comes together is not just using the reviews in terms of the absolute, but it's the extraction of our LLMs and our AI to come together, right? And it's bringing those themes and it's bringing them to light. So I think with brand equity, we have one, like you can use the standardized output of, this brand is 4.5 stars and that's outperforming the category that's 4. So that can be a way to go off brand equity. You can say, okay, we are outperforming. But I think where we've been using brand equity together is almost like a resonance score, is helping you understand like how well does your brand actually resonate with a certain theme. And that's where like the LLMs and the AI come together. It's not just the raw score, but we're really working towards utilizing consumer language and morphing that together to give you that real thing of what's your brand equity actually worth, and some unique scores on our side to help track, let's call it resonance and brand equity that way.
Thank you, Brian, for that. If we can mouse back to slide 24 for a second, Caroline Harris. Hey, Caroline, thanks for joining us today. Had a really great question. She said, where are shopper reviews pulled from? You mentioned Reddit, again on slide 24, which I immediately clipped and saved because it was awesome.
Yep.
And again, on the impact of Reddit, that was some compelling stuff. What other sites and social media are you able to pull from?
Yeah, so from a review standpoint, we are circulating from retailer websites. So the Targets, the Krogers, the Walmart, basically anywhere a product is selling on the internet today, and you can click buy, right? We are actively getting that data, pulling it in, and pulling those reviews as well. So the way to best frame is if a product's selling on this website, we are scraping it, we are going into it. We are not just pulling the reviews, we are pulling the PDPs, we are pulling the ingredients, all of these things together to tell that finite story, and then bringing that all together and then aggregating that. So for when you're in our agent and you're in our platform, you can surface that and understand that from a very wide landscape. And where that really has a lot of value is if you're on a Walmart team, we're pulling reviews from everywhere. So you're not limited right to that world you're living in today. You can search across that whole atmosphere across all those markets.
Wonderful stuff. Thank you. Thank you, Brian, for that. Great question from Christine Gibson. Hey, Christine, thanks so much for joining us. Is there a way to quantify the reviews or customer experience?
My question would be, and I know I can't obviously, unless Christine coming back, like from quantify, it's like I would need a deeper understanding, like of quantify. Like you can quantify the reviews in terms of we can extrapolate, the number of reviews that are associated and the themes like that. So like I just don't know if I'm answering quantify in the way she's asking. But yes, we can quantify all of that and get the absolutes and tell you in real time the number of reviews associated with nostalgia or associated with this flavor or that flavor from an absolute perspective.
Christine, we certainly could take this. We'll make sure that our experts here kind of get the question too. But she chimed in, and thanks for the context here too. She said, as a percentage of gains or losses, do we think X percent is tied to customer experience? That was, I think, kind of the crux of it.
Got it. Yes. I mean, yeah, yes. We can tie it to customer experience in that regard. Yes. I mean, you could say, using the power of the things, we can, say what are positive, what negative, in a lot of ways. Then you match it up to sales, where it's like, what is being said. A lot of stuff we do is like, we've done some really fun work across ingredient reformulation, right? People launch a product and they switch it up. So what is the sentiment? What's the ratings, 6 months before? And then how do things change after? So we can very much tie the number of reviews and the positives and negative themes that come from that into the customer experience, into that sales cycle as, new products come to market, et cetera.
Great stuff, Brian. And again, you kind of see, I always think chat comments to me, they're sparks. They're sparks of insight and kind of the curiosity. So they're kind of, this has been lighting up like a holiday tree here today. Right. A couple other questions I want to make sure we get to. Let's stick on the topic of quantification. So how does Harmonya help quantify emotional cues from consumer reviews?
Yeah, and a question I'll pose to Nicole in this regard, like, what were you guys able to surface, at a high level, like from an emotional cue standpoint, validation you guys saw that you haven't been able to see elsewhere in terms of the language and what emotions come across that you don't have before, working with us?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say I would go back to my drink mixes example, where we definitely did our own analysis with the sales data to see what was happening and then really tried to get to that why piece. We can understand shopper behavior to a certain extent, but the why are they changing their behavior or why are they doing a certain thing, or why is something more important to them than the other? You really have to go to them to figure that out. So when you guys were able to help us sort through those 30,000 plus reviews and tell us, well, here's the number one theme that came through, which was taste and flavor. And then a couple more clicks down was value and price. We were able to see that really it is taste and flavors. You've got to get those right first because that's what consumers are looking at for their number one purchase driver.
Wonderful stuff. Thanks again for the context there, Nicole. And one last one. How do brands use this data to impact things like planograms, assortment recommendations? Obviously, we've got a lot of space folks on the call here, so I think there's some curiosity about that.
No, this is great, and this is kind of the use cases that I've been spending a lot of time on. The agent is impeccable; it really helps you get to insight. But I think where I always come back to is how do I influence the shelf in external conversations, right? And what we've been able to generate and test out with clients is the ability to take our attribution and apply them to planograms and at the store level, cluster levels, you name it, to understand, okay, our products that people are delineating as, this type of attribute, low sugar, you name it, are they in the right places together? Obviously, brand blocking is still going to exist, but are we having things in the right place where consumers are looking for? So that's one. So being able to see it in a planogram in real time and adjust. The other element beyond just where things stand on the shelf is what belongs on the shelf, right? Because that at the end of the day, you win when you have the right assortment. Using space to sales in a bunch of different ways, just as you do space to sales today from brand levels and subcategory levels, being able to apply attribution and or groupings, things like gut health, things like skin and joints, protein. We can bucket our attributes into higher level themes and help you understand demand signals and in real time help you quantify what are my space to sales and or you're going to launch a new product tomorrow in gut health, let's say. You have 500 stores you got to choose from. We can tell you which regions, which markets, which stores people are looking for those products and buying them, utilizing the power of sales data and our attribution. So you're picking the right stores, both from an innovation perspective, a test perspective, but also end of year, as you get to line reviews. We're in all of these conversations today, just to bring that together at a high level.